All right. So, hope life is treating you good. Going live here with you guys. And I'm doing it with an intention and a purpose in mind, which is to tell you and share with you my opinion on why not only should you probably move from the country you live in, but perhaps you may consider to move to Israel for this exact reason. And I'm going to explain to you my personal philosophy. I'm going to riff a little bit off the top of my head. And I want to talk with you guys about, this stuff because it's super important to me. Keep in mind on this that the most important thing to me, and sorry if you guys are hearing background sounds and beeps coming in, I've got a few messages coming in, but listen, the most important thing to me is that you guys are always growing. Now, let me elaborate. It's been said before that ignorance is bliss. And I spent actually a few years of my life thinking about this concept. Is ignorance bliss? And I came up with the conclusion on this concept. I'll tell you that it's not bliss at all. That's the short version. And then the other day, I was minding my own business when I had a thought, and it made perfect sense to you guys about how perspective is everything. Meaning, if you have a positive perspective on a situation, it's a good thing. If you have a negative perspective on that same situation, that's a bad thing because theoretically you're going to start to define that situation. Let's call it a cup. Let's call it a cup half filled or a cup half empty, right? If you're going to start looking at life as a cup, then understand perspective is everything, right? That makes sense. So let me elaborate. When I understood this, I understood very clearly that it does not matter what you possess as a person. It doesn't even matter in the least bit if you're rich or if you're poor. This is for sure. Your perspective on the situation matters the most. And let me tie in now this concept because ignorance is not bliss. And if you look at your life half filled or half empty is everything, right? Then if you are not ignorant, meaning if you are constantly growing and learning and improving yourself, your cup itself shifts and looks different. It becomes a bigger cup. Does that make sense? So your perspective on life is expanded through your awareness. Now, this is why, well, if you want to live your life in a super sort of a very nice little comparison or a sort of a metaphor of sweets, if you want to have like a snack or a little bite of a wafer or a little Snickers bar, that's fine. If you're looking for something incredibly rich, like a cheesecake, like a delicious fudge brownie, for example, that's a rich experience. And that's what an aware life is like, to be not ignorant. And we're all ignorant in a bunch of ways, myself definitely not excluded. But I'm trying to learn and grow because I would like to look at my cup in a positive fashion, whether it's half filled or half empty. And I would also like my cup to be large, and I would like it to be unique. And I want it to constantly be growing, and I want to constantly be thinking about how to look at this cup in a positive fashion. And that's pretty heavy shit, in my opinion. But that's just me. Now, let me tie this into you and you being able to move to another country, or you maybe even wanting to move to Israel. I don't care where you move because I do recommend that you do move regardless. So if you're going to move out of your country, why would you do it? Well, I've already explained it, right? You want to be expanding your horizons. You want to be learning and growing so your cup is bigger. Your experience of life is richer. And me, I've lived in 3 countries. So I've lived in a few places. I've lived in 3 countries, a couple of different states, and I'm not special in this way. And I would like to continue to do it because when I've looked back on my life, I've understood that these moves, these relocating myself, have not only, well, fortunately given me a chance to reinvent myself, which is always nice. It's a main reason, or a reason why people move, is to attempt to recreate themselves if they move away from their friends and family. But another great reason is to expand your cup, to grow, to gain a different perspective, to engage life with. Because life is all about perspective, right? So don't hesitate. Don't have a lot of fears about moving. Prepare financially, prepare in every way you can. But don't let fear be a main aspect in your life, because if it is, then you're not going to be able to have the courage to move to a different country, to move away from what you know, to try something new, to gain that awareness, that huge perspective is what it's all about. And then, of course, sharing that and passing that forward is where I find my purpose. But that's just me. Guys, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.